I'm Brie the Plant Lady, and welcome to my kitchen. I have a ton of stuff going on right now, and I decided that, I should probably record this. It might be useful for somebody. So hopefully what I do will make sense. So I've got my pickle brine right here already boiling, ready to go into jars filled with pickles. So that's going to be my number one. I've got my canning water at boiling point with my jars and lids inside so that everything is sterilized. So my first step is going to be to take some of these out, fill them with my pickle chips, and get the pickles ready to go back into the water bath so that they can be canned proper. My step after that will be to go back to making tomato sauce, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it, how simple it is for both roasting and stovetop, and how to extract the juice so that you can make your own delicious Bloody Mary that you can drink while you're canning. So that was like a miracle that I had the right amount of pickles and brine to do all these 4 jars. And I say it's a miracle because I didn't measure. So whenever it works out like that, I always feel like, wow, I've defied the odds. Anyhow, I'm going to put these into my water bath. I'm going to water bath them for 22 minutes. And that's me just being a little extra precautious to make sure they seal. And in the meantime, I am then going to get started on my tomatoes. So what you can see here is the raw tomato paste, and that is just tomatoes food processed. I'm not going to add any seasonings at all. I'm just going to sort of mix this up and put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes to an hour. Basically, just to make sure that all the additional liquid is off and that it looks caramelized. And the reason that I love to make this paste is because I can can or freeze it once it's been roasted, and then when I go to make it, I can, turn it into tomato soup by just adding an immersion blender and adding some cream. Or I can put it on the stovetop and make spaghetti sauce. Or I can use it as is for pizza sauce. So it's just a really versatile base, and that's why I don't add any flavorings to it. Now what I have here is the raw juice, and this is traditionally what I have used to make Bloody Marys with. Now this year I've actually taken this one step further, and I've started canning the tomato essence, which is basically clarified juice. And now I have one less batch of tomatoes to process, and I'm going to food process these along with some onions and garlic, and I'm going to cook these stovetop to make traditional spaghetti sauce that I'll be able to can later this afternoon. So here you can really see the difference between stovetop tomato sauce, which has had seasonings added, and I'm just heating it up now so that I can can it, versus the raw tomato paste, which is going to go into the oven and be roasted. So as you can see here, I have another batch of spaghetti sauce ready to go onto the stovetop. I have added salt and Italian seasonings, cumin, some dried garlic and parsley, and some olive oil. And I don't measure, so I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you 1 tablespoon of this and a half a teaspoon of that, because that's not how I cook. I've done this enough. I just sort of cook to taste. And this is a spaghetti sauce that's made from cream sausage tomatoes, so it's not going to be orange. And I did add 1 whole onion, 2 green peppers, and 1 really large clove of garlic. So I'm going to let this cook stovetop for the next hour or so, about as long as the roasted paste that's in the oven. And I'm now at the stage where my first round of pickles are ready to come out of the water bath. And they look great. This is actually the first time I've ever done dill chips. My next round of pickles, which I'm going to start on, will be bread and butter chips. And this is all because I've just planted so many cucumber seeds. And I have had more cucumbers than ever before in my life. And I don't want to waste them. So there's definitely sort of a canning choreography that to do this many different things, you have to really be thinking ahead and planning. And it occurred to me that I absolutely do not have time to drink a Bloody Mary today. So instead, I am going to can that juice. And I'm going to do it in small neck quart jars. So I have that heating up here. It's almost to a boil, so that'll be ready to go into the water bath. While this water bath cooks, what I'm going to do is get started on heating the brine for the bread and butter pickles. Unlike the brine that I made for my dill chips here, the bread and butter, really it's all apple cider vinegar and a ton of sugar, like a crazy amount of sugar. But, you know, that's how it is. I'm glad that I have an affinity for dill pickles because there's 0 sugar in those, and that's good because I don't really like eating things that have sugar snuck into them. But I'm going to make these because the recipe does sound great, and I have a lot of friends and my husband who love bread and butter pickles. So the recipe calls for 25 pickles. And I don't have that many, although I have a lot. I haven't counted. I need to process those. I'm going to do 4 cups of apple cider vinegar and 4 cups of sugar. And I'm just going to kind of go from there. You'll notice that I clean while I do this process, and in part that's just because I can't handle things being disorganized, but also I have a small kitchen and there's just not a lot of room for mess, so I try to keep up, like I'm already running the dishwasher and everything. As you can see, I'm on my last batch, and it's a combo of bread and butter pickles and 1 jar from the roasted tomato paste that was in the oven. So I'm going to set my timer for 25 minutes to make sure that all of this cans safely, and I will be done for the day. Well, you know what that sound means. The canning is complete, at least for today. I was feeling so good, like, oh, I've gotten so much accomplished. And I walked out back just to take my compost to the pile. And I came in with another basket of produce, which I'm so grateful for. But that means that today is definitely not my last marathon round of canning. So for all of you who are interested, you can learn more by visiting my website, briegrows.com. Thanks so much for watching today, and I wish you all the best through your summer harvests. So the final step before I put these into my pantry is to label and date each one. I also want to make sure that everything is properly sealed, and you can do that just by pressing on the lids. That one wasn't quite there, and these are the ones that have just come out.